You're listening to the First Fight Podcast, home of the people and stories behind the fight. I'm Jennifer Anderson, the host and creator. My goal is to give you a peek into the remarkable world of fighting and create a platform for fighters to tell their stories. In each episode of this series, a different fighter shares a transformative story of their first time. Welcome back, everyone. On today's episode, we have a great conversation with Uriah Hall. Uriah gives us a little background into how bullying led him on the path to martial arts. We talk about the ups and downs of the fighter's life and how he stays motivated during the downs. We touch on the internet trolls and MMA and the importance of legacy to him and what he wants to be remembered by as a fighter. I really enjoyed this talk, and I hope you enjoy it too. So thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Now, how did you first get into martial arts? You started pretty young, right?
Yeah, I started when I was 16 years old. Man, I should write a book someday. I was bullied upon arrival from Jamaica, and martial arts just gave me confidence. My mom put me in there, and I stuck with it. And it got to a point where my sensei said, "Hey, you can take this far." Of course, I was scared and did tournaments. Tournaments turned into fights, and fights led to here where I am right now. But the main thing was bullying that started it, that my mom put me in martial arts to defend myself. And now I get paid to hurt people for a living, so no complaints.
Now, I'm sure since you've started so young, you've competed a lot, but why don't we talk about your first MMA fight?
I was a kickboxer, and I think mixed martial arts was starting to bloom. And, I was undefeated and I was better at stand-up, but I won the challenge. So I actually retired from kickboxing. I was undefeated. I think I was 10 or 11-0. And I went to MMA, and my first fight knocked out everybody. I was just knocking everybody out. And I actually lost to Chris Weidman, which was my fifth fight, I think, because I was just a guy and I became a champion. I was like, man, this is fun. And Chris Weidman was the guy to beat me and stop me. And hey, I just beat him again. So
yeah. Now, since you had all that experience in martial arts, when you finally got to the cage, was it an eye-opening experience or was it just another day?
You mean when I just got into MMA?
Yep. Like compared to kickboxing and...
It was just a transition. Like I said, MMA was starting to bloom, and I didn't think too much of it. I knew grappling, I know wrestling, and I knew kickboxing, but I knew them separate. So I think MMA was just good to kind of put them together. Of course, I watched fights, and Anderson Silva was one of the first fights I watched. So that was like, holy cow, who's this guy? And he became my idol at the time. But it was just a transition, because my stand-up wasn't all that great. My hands weren't that good. I was a great kicker, but over the course of my career, it was just fine-tuning it and slowly putting it together. And even right now, I'm actually still putting it together. And if you ask any martial artist, it's all about that consistency and that journey, because that's going to give us growth to get better.
Now, since you had so many fast knockouts in the beginning, seem easy to you? When did it kind of become a struggle for you? Like most people, I think.
Well, I mean, I was just very articulate when it comes to knocking people out. I was an artist when it comes to that. Like for me, I would look at someone, I would see their weakness or where I should pinpoint my accuracy and just, destroy them. And that was the karate background that helped me. I would say around the Adam Sella fight, that's when I was like, holy cow, I'm very dangerous. And I think I was kind of coming into my shell, of course. After that, with media, people, the spotlight and everything, it was just a weird environment. But, I don't like to hurt people, but I'm good at it. And I struggled with it for a while because at the end of the day, I'm a human being. And with the martial arts background, it taught us to defend ourselves. So I wasn't like aggressive. I wasn't, what do you call it? I didn't have any killer instinct, but I just know when to kill you, like
Mm.
I don't like to go to war, but I'm the guy that go inside a war and just take you out smoothly. So with MMA transition and everyone's just so different and that barbaric theme, that blood and all that stuff, I'm like, what the hell? And it was just new to me because again, my background was just articulate, and that's why I would apologize for knocking dudes out because the martial arts was all about respect, because two men are going out there to impose each other's will. So after the battle, it was more like, hey man, good shit. And I guess me being me, the crowd didn't welcome that. So I struggled with that for a while. And as I got older, it was more like, you know what? Fuck everybody. It's all about me at the end of the day, and I have to do what's important for me.
Hmm. Well, you're a true martial artist. I think that's people who
Thank you.
understand that know that it's not about all that other stuff. It's about
It's not.
the art. That's what I love
Absolutely.
about it. I don't love like the violence necessarily, but I like the art of martial arts.
Exactly.
Now, actually, that fight that you're talking about, where you had that wild knockout, I that's probably when I first heard of you. I noticed. I think maybe a lot of people first noticed you. Was that a
Pretty
lot of
much.
pressure for you in your career?
Oh, absolutely. It was just, everyone was just coming at me. And I remember Dana White saying, hey, man, when you get out of this house, it's going to be a lot of people coming at you. You got to be
Yeah.
prepared. And I'm like, okay. And I remember walking down the street one day and people were chasing me. And I was like, what the fudge? So this was just new to me.
Yeah.
And, without that right guidance, it's hard sometimes. And even when you have that guidance, what I've learned over the course of my career is that most of these people are um, constituents. They're just there for your success. They're there to milk you and feed off of you. And things aren't going so well, it's like, all right, they're out. Like even right now, I'm on a win streak and I'm doing well. I'm in a great environment. I'm in a great gym. I'm surrounded by some great peers. And you see the people are coming back around and stuff like that. But of course, I know my loyal fans. I have people that have been with me since I got out of tough, even before tough. I still see them. They still message me. I still message them back. And it's all about that. And it's stuff like that where um, you see people their true colors. It's kind of like Tony Ferguson right now. Everyone's on Tony Ferguson's bandwagon, and uh, what's his face just defeated him, and he said something really cool in his press conference. He's like, "Hey man, you guys are booing me, but make sure you're on Tony Ferguson's side still. Don't be booing me and then later on booing Tony Ferguson as well. Because the fans, man, I hate to say it, but they're the worst." Especially MMA fans,
Oh,
they're the worst.
I've talked about this before. They're like the most, or the least educated fans compared to any
Least.
other sports because every fan thinks that they can fight. Not every person thinks they can like play football. You know,
Yeah.
I
Not even that. They just think they know more. Like, hey man, you should train more. Hey man, you should work your jet. Like, thanks, coach. Like, where were you when I was training? Like, who the
Just
That's
like Corey
crazy,
always
man.
says, like, why don't you come show me how to do it right?
Yeah, right. Just come show me, please. And social media just give these guys such an easy platform to say whatever they want. And me being from the East Coast, I'm sure Corey can attest. Like, hey man, you talk shit, you better back it up. And I'm ready to knock you out. And I can't tell how many times my friends have to save me from losing my career because I was ready to kill people outside of this octagon because they don't understand. They think because they can say stuff to me that I'm not going to retaliate. So, but I've gotten better with that, and I've realized that that's their job. It's kind of like you actually get up to have a 9 to 5. This is actually their 9 to 5. They wake up, they stretch, they get their morning coffee, and they're like, "Hey, man, who am I going to attack today?" They have their list. Like, I attacked LeBron James yesterday. Let me go. They have people that they actually just go
No,
down the list, and
I hate even like giving it attention. And Corey and I talk about this. It just blew my mind. It's not like how nasty people can be, but how many people can be that nasty? Like, after
right,
he gets knocked out, people find me and are like messaging me things. I'm like, do you have anything better to
you,
there's like people behind this. Actually, this is why I do this is to show that there's actually people with stories behind the fighters. They just think they can say mean things about someone that just got knocked out. That's pretty devastating, or injured or and they would never even come close to, being
Ever.
half the man a lot of you guys are for being there.
My thing is, let's have some repercussion. Kind of like how these police officers, there's no repercussion. I guarantee you, if there's some repercussion, they won't be doing shit like this, you know? That is one of them. Bullying is another. And what's the other one? Uh, I forgot. But if there's repercussion, man, a lot of these kids, a lot of these people won't be doing stuff like that because they will know the consequences. But we live in such an amazing, crazy society where this government system is so messed up that it's doing exactly what it was designed to do. And for a lot of people who aren't woke to the situation, they'll fall victim. And
Yeah,
I, for one, as I'm getting older, I'm seeing things. I'm like, oh my God, like no one else sees this. So it's so important to educate yourself and just surround yourself with those people in the same mindset because unfortunately, a big part of the population of the world is dumbing down. And it's like, if you're not careful, you'll go with them.
that's the issue is that the generation coming up now,
Oh
just
my God.
younger than us, is I think because of social media, they can say whatever they want and not have to fear like getting punched in the face for it. Like
Exactly.
we
Again,
didn't
there's no
have that
repercussion.
growing up, really. I didn't.
No,
And
no.
they don't have consequences, so they're gonna grow up and be adults in the world that think there's no consequences for that, which is, just breeds more of that negativity. But with
Get
all the
their
ups
ass
and
beat.
downs in your career, because I'm sure you've had a lot, you've been around for a while, have you ever lost that passion for it?
I can't tell you how many times I've lost. A lot of elite athletes have been in my position where they doubt themselves second guess or you know what, it's time to quit this or done. And I can sit here and say the genius thing I've done is I didn't quit. I've thought about it so many times. You work so close to it and it gets taken away from you, whether it's the judges making a call where you're like, what? And they don't see that you work your ass off for 3 months, 2 months, putting all that blood, sweat, and tears, and they just don't understand the educational part of the sport where they be like, let me give this guy this. And you're like, well, dude, what fight were you watching? Or you going out there putting a lot on the line and you come up short. It sucks, man. And on top of that, too, you have the people on social media. They're the one that bring you down even more. And I had to learn that someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality.
Mhm.
And it's so easy to listen to people. I've wanted to quit so many times. The thing is, I really don't even know how to do it, and I have my karate background to thank for that because one of the things that was instilled upon me was that discipline factor to start something and finish it. If I start something, I gotta finish it. It doesn't matter how many times I lost. In my mind, I'm like, I just need to beat you once, just so that you're not that great. So the ups and downs, looking back at it now, is more of a journey. And I think for a lot of young athletes, they don't realize that it's a journey and you have to enjoy that journey. And sometimes those downtimes is to kind of remind you, hey, how bad do you want this? Or, hey, this is not working. Let's go this route. And you get to build or gain something that you need.
Mhm.
So once I start looking at it from a learning perspective, I start to grow and it starts to manifest. And I'm attracting the right people around me. And I'm even attracting the wrong people, but I'm more conscious of that now. So I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be.
Forget which Diaz said it, but he said you gotta love it so much that you hate it.
Oh God, I hate it.
I
I
feel
hate
like
the
that's
training.
martial arts. At least for me, it was like, or any passion, you really have to like love it so much that you hate it and you're still willing to do it. Like that's true love, I think.
Oh my God, it's a love hate. But again, it goes back to growth. And I'm 36, so I'm at the point in my career where it's like, all right, let's put the foot on the gas, because I don't have too much of a longevity.
Hmm.
But I'm going after the strap. There's a lot of up and comers looking at me like, man, I'm gonna get that. You're right. Same way I was looking at Anderson Silva.
Hmm.
Not that I'm scared of these guys, but I'm very competitive, and I feel like I'm aging backwards with the training I'm doing. I'm working with some of the best people out here. My strength and conditioning program is on another level, man. I feel so strong. I've been educated to a degree where I'm cutting weight. I don't even feel it. I'm eating the day before I start to cut weight, which I've never done in my life. So I'm learning so much. I feel stronger physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And again, just like MMA, you just got to put all those things together because at the end of the day, your mind is what 80% of what you're going to use out there. The other is just the physical capabilities of you going out there and outputting your attributes.
I think especially in MMA, because I think people's careers are so short usually. They don't fight a lot compared to like Muay Thai and boxing. But
Mhm.
I feel like they think about it so black and white that you lose, you're done. You know, they
Oh
look
yeah,
but look at Jan and Charles Oliveira. They're both like, if they just gave up, if
you
they
know,
two losses in a row, you know, like they didn't have the traditional trajectory that people kind of like to push in MMA. So you just
yeah,
have that mindset. It's more of a marathon than a sprint, which is hard to look at.
yeah. I mean, I've heard that before from my manager to be like, "Hey man," because I was like, "Hey man, let's get this, let's get this, let's get some annual incomes," and he'd be like, "It's not a marathon. No, he's not a sprint. It's a marathon." I'm like, "What?" People are running past me, but the business end of things for this sport, it's so much politics, man. Even look at Corey, man. Corey, like, how long Corey deserved a title shot? They were just, waving him to the side. Everybody saw that shit. They did it to Khabib, and Khabib finally became champ. So,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
that?
That new light heavyweight, Yuri Prohaska, he had one fight in the UFC. He just beat Dominic Reyes, and they're talking
Yeah,
about title shots. I'm like, you know,
politics.
you know how
They
it goes.
pick and choose. They pick and choose.
Yeah.
They know who they want to be champ.
We all know like the way it goes and that it isn't just who's the best, but because it is
Right.
entertainment. But as an athlete and a martial artist, it's hard to like switch that mentality when you put your all into it and then to see things not be fair or the best person not getting their dues. It's hard to stay mentally like in the game and motivated really.
Very, very hard. And that's why it's so important to be around the right people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
fortunate for me, I'm around the right folks.
Good for you. It's key in this business, that's for sure.
Hmm.
Well, I have one more question for you. First of all, is
Sure.
your legacy important to you? And if it is, how would you want people to remember you as a fighter?
Man, I feel like as I gotten older, I was focused more on the legacy, because I fell victim to a lot of things that happened in the sport where they were like giving me fights I didn't want to take. And I was like, all right, whatever, because they force you most of the time. But one of the main things that I'm good at is perseverance. I keep going no matter what. You'll knock me down, I'll get back up because I do not know how to quit. So if there's anything anyone that I want to remembered by is my never quitting attitude because I don't know how to quit. And it doesn't matter how hard it is, doesn't matter how hard it gets, I'm gonna make it. That's how I look at it. You put those towers in front of me, I'm gonna climb. It might take me a while, but I'll climb. Whether it's for me or whether it's to inspire another generation or someone else or to spark the mind of someone that's gonna potentially change this world. I have a job to do, and that's to make it. And I'm not gonna quit until I do that.
Well, that's amazing. You have a really interesting story and career, and I'm excited for you to have a title. You have a fight booked already too, so
Yeah, August 7th, I'm fighting actually a buddy of mine. That should be fun.
great.
Um, should be fun.
Well,
So,
I wish you luck, and I appreciate you taking the time.
of course, thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll be watching.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Uriah, for taking the time. I enjoyed our talk. And you can watch Uriah fight at UFC 265 on August 7th against Sean Strickland. So we can be looking forward to that. Thanks again, everyone, for taking a listen. And you can follow us on Instagram at The First Fight and check out our website and look at an archive of all our old episodes at firstfightpodcast.com.